the talk and sing the rhyme. Confidence
then-
so heavy.
Welcome to the Speak Like the Boss podcast. I'm Anthony. This is Chase. We're back for another episode. What's going on this week?
Just on the grind, man. Working out, trying to stay right, eat right.
Okay.
Bro, we had it rough this weekend.
It's been rough. It's
Yeah.
been rough.
We had it rough this weekend. Yeah.
We'll bring up what we were just talking about. So there was something that we noticed this weekend. What we noticed was there was a gay individual, male, that was with a group of females, and they were dancing like a female.
Mm-hmm.
And they were not a bad dancer by any means.
No, like they had rhythm.
They did the whole rhythm, and
Not
they
that we
were
were watching that
twerking
close.
and doing the whole thing.
Yeah.
But what dawned on us is how ridiculous it actually looks. And I realized that the women look just as ridiculous doing it.
Mm-hmm.
We just don't notice it because we're attracted to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, like you said, shake that ass and every guy starts looking right.
That's what it comes down to, right?
But it's not just that. Anytime a woman, especially on dating apps where women have to say the first, make the first move, say the first thing, whatever. All they do is use corny pickup lines or just be like, "Hey, how are you? How's your day?" Do you know how many times men have been shot down? Women saying that crap, men have been shot down having women say, women have shot down men saying that kind of crap.
Yeah.
It's gotta be, it's gotta be clever. It's gotta be catchy. It's gotta be funny. And they just say the dumbest shit, and it's okay because they're talking to us.
So today we're talking about how to approach women, pickup lines, body language, a little bit of everything, trying to give you some confidence on what to look for and how to do it the right way.
Mm-hmm.
So the first topic that we have here today is just approaching partners in general. So I have some bullet points that we can get into, but just a broad stroke, what do you think about approaching? Where do you prefer to do it? Let's start there.
I mean, I'll do it anywhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Freaky boy over here. Okay.
I'll do it anywhere.
Okay.
I'm typically looking for a specific kind of body language.
Yeah.
Specific kind of, if I can get a signal, I'm looking for a specific kind of signal.
Okay.
I may not even bother if I can't find a way to insert myself into the conversation in like a smooth or a natural way, or I can't think of anything funny or witty to say, but.
Sure. So the first bullet point that I have written down here and we'll jump into is looking for open body language.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean to you? What are you looking for?
Someone who's not sitting, arms, legs crossed. They're not looking around. They probably have a good expression on their face.
Okay.
They seem like
Inviting.
Inviting. They're talking to people, talking to their friends, having a good time. They may be dancing.
Mm-hmm.
Like where we typically go, there's a dance hall, right?
Yep.
So the women I'm looking to dance with are typically closer to the dance floor because that's signaling, hey, I want to go dance.
Sure. Yeah. Some of the things that I look for, other than, like you said, being closed off is obviously what you don't want to look for, right? But what you do want to look for is eye contact.
Mm-hmm.
Smiling at you is a good sign. Just being inviting overall. So whatever that may be, looking to have a fun time in general and not being closed off to the surroundings or like mean mugging. If they look like they're maybe not having fun, or if they're too busy looking at their phone, they're obviously disconnected from what's going on around them and they're not looking for attention. Did you have anything else on that one specifically?
I mean, not without getting into like specific examples.
Sure. Give me one if you have one.
Well, so it's like this weekend, like I was saying, it was rough.
Yeah.
There were a lot of women that we did not want to approach. And after a while, we were like, well, if we're going to talk to anybody, we have to start approaching. So
sure.
Too many of the women were not necessarily acting disinterested, but when we did approach, they acted almost like they were too good for us. It's like, honey, you should be happy that I'm talking to you. But it goes back to the thing we talked about, where women just have too many options.
They have too many options.
Yeah.
It's almost, it's like a fly.
Yeah.
It's like you become a nuisance because it's all day long. They're just swatting people away and they're just
superiority complex
kind
is probably
of over being talked to.
Yeah. Superiority complex is probably the way to put it.
Unless you're a 10 out of 10 and, you're in a tux, you ain't probably standing out in the crowd at that point.
And you get a specific look and it's just like, okay, have a nice day. Move on.
Yeah. The next one that I have towards approaching things to do is moving into her line of sight.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
making
don't come
sure
up behind her and creep her out.
well, that too, but more or less when you're looking for the looks itself, um, if you notice the girl, let's say she's dancing, she's hanging out with her friends, she doesn't even see you yet. You're positioning yourself somewhere in the room so that you are in her line of sight. So that way you can be noticed, and that way you can start to look for that eye contact. That's more or less, you know what I mean? Because we'll get out of order here a little bit, but there are a lot of ways that dating coaches or other people will tell you to approach women. And one of the most popular ways that I see is to just go crazy and approach everybody, all 100 in the room.
Mhm.
Okay. I personally don't like that method. I feel like, especially for men, not myself included, but there are a lot of men out there that are going to get shot down and rejected and be done for the night after one.
Mhm.
It becomes a point of, unless you have some kind of superior complex of confidence, the discouragement is going to wane on you if you're just shooting shots blindly, right? So I feel like if you shoot educated shots, you're going to have more success and your overall percentage will be higher. Whereas if you shoot 100 completely blind, 5 may talk to you and give you a number. If you shoot 3 educated ones and you know for sure that they were looking back, 2 of them might be a success.
Mhm.
So now you're at a 66 percentile versus
Mhm.
5%, right? So it just depends on how you want to approach it. I personally like that method a little better, and that's what I'm going to be talking about more today. What would you prefer?
I the same thing.
Same.
I tried. We talked about it a little off
Yeah.
camera, but I tried one of those dating guru things back in the day just to see kind of how it was or if it would help.
Yeah.
Um,
So you've talked to another dating coach and seen what they would say.
not really spoken to them. It was
Okay.
more of like a class system where you just have 50 or so different lessons you can click through, and
Okay.
They-
So like a curriculum that they had already uploaded.
yes, and they
Got it.
go in depth with examples to a woman who was coming in blind, had no idea what was going on.
Okay.
They are super aggressive. I mean,
The
overconfident.
curriculum was aggressive.
Their methods
To
were
the point
aggressive.
where it's like, do it this way or you suck as a man or what?
No, just the way they would approach women. Like one guy, I can't get up and do it, but
Sure. Yeah, we got audio listens anyway, so.
the way he would approach women is he would just walk up with his hands in his pockets and then basically like put his crotch on them, almost on their leg.
Interesting.
Like he would be that close to them.
Very close to sexual harassment at that point.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
like the way that they talked about the progressive like touching and things like that, you know, they had caveats for it if they do get creeped out and all this kind of stuff, like to the point to where like, yeah, it was too much.
Not good.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely don't recommend that. Moving into our line of sight, going back to what we were talking about, I prefer that because then my general rule of thumb is 3 looks. If you can get 3 looks and then anything additional in that, whether it be like a come over here or a nod or a wink or a smile or something else that adds to the look of the eye contact, that's usually a better sign than even 3 looks. That's the acknowledgement like, hey, I see you and I know that you're there and I know you're looking back, so come do something about it. Those are usually the ones I'm like, all right, I'm for sure talking to her.
Yeah, I've
other
seen
than
you do that.
The three, sometimes you can't do 3, and I've been in situations where sometimes you get 2 looks and then you notice almost like you're out in like the savannah and you see the gazelle about to get jumped on by the lions and you're like, I gotta go
you
right
gotta
now.
go right now.
Right.
Yeah.
So I've seen those situations and that has happened to me where I was like, okay, it's go time because the pack is circling. And if I don't go, I'm going to lose it to one of them.
Speaking of that actually happened this past weekend. The guy was successful in something.
Yeah.
Those two girls that you ended up asking questions to just for statistics, but
yeah.
I mean, we were talking not half the night, but for a good while about approaching him.
Sure.
And then some dude just beat us to it and
Right.
looked very successful. Do you think it's even worth trying to go in at that point, or that's just off the table for the night?
I don't go in if they're in communication with somebody, but if that person walks away, then absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. So just one of those, like, I wouldn't just sit there and stalk them all night and wait for them to walk away unless it's immediate. Like if you get shot down and then 2 minutes later he's gone, right? But if it's one of those where you happen to cross them again at some point and then they're just by themselves again, then maybe. But what I've noticed about those kind of situations, if you see girls that are constantly getting approached and nobody's landing, you're probably not going to land either.
Right. Yeah.
There's a reason that nobody's landing. They're married.
Yeah.
This is that. There's something's going on there where they're just rejecting everybody for the night. They're just not entertaining it.
So the opposite to that.
Yeah.
When we first noticed them and we were talking about approaching them at the bar, I mean, they were within proximity of us or whatever, and then that dude swooped in and was just failing so hard.
Yeah.
How long do you wait before you try to approach after that? Or do you try to use that as a way, like as soon as he walks away, not to make fun of the guy or do anything, put him down or anything? Because you don't want to do that, but
no, you never
how
want
would
to
you
put him
use
down.
that
You always want to be
situation to your advantage?
Uplifting. So if you know that they are just maybe getting a drink and you know where they're going to be right after and they're still in the vicinity, I would wait because then you have time. If you know that once they leave that bar, the place is too crowded and they're going to walk away and you're not going to get another shot, then you would go in, but you would use what just happened as an icebreaker. Not putting him down, but try to come up with something clever about it. So something that I have used in the past, if I see multiple people approach, like we talked about, I'll say something like, I know you've been shooting guys down all night, but I'm so-and-so.
Yeah, that's good.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
to make them
good.
like kind of giggle, like, I noticed you and I haven't had a chance to approach. Something, or even something like that. You've been so busy just turning people down all night. So, I know you've been waiting for me, but here I am.
Yeah.
Right? Something silly,
okay,
right?
I like that.
So
Yeah.
there's just be a little clever with it. Come up with something good before you step in front of her, but use the situation to your advantage. And I say this about just approaching in general. If you're not out at a late night spot, if you're at the gym, if you're at the library, if you're at the supermarket and you're going to approach somebody, the best thing that you can do as an icebreaker is talk about your environment.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Yeah.
So if you know that something's going on in the environment, like let's just say, hey, did you see that guy at the gym last week? He threw one of the weights at the mirrors and shattered the whole thing. They had to repair it. They had to close down that section of the gym for like 2 days. That's just a situation that affects her because she goes to the same gym as you. So find something to conversate about.
Yeah. Speaking of the gym, I actually found I saw a guy. It was probably Friday. No, it was Saturday. Saturday. I can't believe it actually worked, but he took a shot at a girl. Objectively speaking, he was attractive, and she was very attractive as well. But still, objectively speaking, he took a shot, and it was just something like, hey, haven't I seen you here before? And I'm like, oh my God, this dude's going to fail. I was using the machines all around him. So I just sat there and listened to the whole thing. But I can't believe that worked. I can't believe he's just one of those dudes. She sat there and talked to him for like 30 minutes.
Enough
and got her number.
And that, again, sometimes the gym or other places like that, they're in a situation where these girls don't get approached as much because she may not go out at night. So from
the conversation, she doesn't hardly go out.
She was
so
probably more of a homebody, and
he
fact
picked
that
the right
somebody
one.
was talking to her was like, oh, this will work. Yeah. So it's all situational as well, of course, right? Everything's not going to work on everybody.
Do you mind if I ask a specific question? Because it might be it will be relevant to me.
Sure.
So I've got a wedding coming up.
Okay.
How would you go about approaching people at a wedding? Because I've never had success at a wedding.
Okay, that's a good one. You're going single.
Yes, going single. Yeah,
and you're anticipating other singles to be there, not just all couples.
Potentially, I don't know. So the groom is a really good friend.
Okay, so it's the groom.
I lived with a guy for like 5 years.
Got it.
But I know his kids real well, everything. But the girl he's marrying, I've only met her like once. She's super cool, but I mean, she's got friends.
First thing I would do is ask him if there's any singles that he knows about that are ready to mingle. That's step one. So that way he can kind of give you the 411 on the whole facts, right?
Yeah, give me the whole facts.
Figure out what the situation is before you get where. That way you can know. Then you can also find out if he's putting you at the same table with said people. Because they assign the seats.
Well, right? I'm supposed to be one of the groomsmen.
Okay, so you're going to be at that table. So find out if any of them are there first. Hey, anybody at that table specifically going to be a little single, right? So which one should I target? And then from there, if it's not there, figure out what table and whatever, right? That's the starter offer. If none of those situations work, find somebody at your table who seems to know a lot of her side of the party or the single ladies. Befriend them, even if you're not interested in that one. That way she can introduce you to the others.
Yeah. Okay.
You're going to
I got
find
it,
a
yeah.
way in somewhere, kind of snake your way in, right?
Okay.
From there, you just figure
just
out
there,
what works
yeah.
for you. So if there's music and you're a dancer, take them to the dance floor. If you're not that guy and you don't do anything but country and line dancing and this is hip hop or something else, conversation starters, whatever it's going to be. Talk about the food, talk about the drinks, talk about how do you know so and so? Oh, that's ridiculous. Tell me a story about what they were like when they were kids.
Did you see me walking down the aisle? I know I stole the show, but it's not my wedding, so
something like that. But yeah, do the pre-work first, and your life will be a lot easier than going in with a bunch of strangers and trying to navigate it in the moment. Because you're a very limited time window of like 2 hours or whatever the cocktail party is, right? So yeah, know in advance who you're kind of going for, and if you're lucky and your friend is like, oh yeah, my boy's a respectable dude, that might get in the bride's ear and she can set it up too.
Yeah.
And then it's a match already made before you even get there. She's expecting you, you're expecting her, and that'll work, right? So it's an idea, but that's one way to try it for sure. Next part of approaching, relaxing your body so you look confident. Any thoughts first before I go into what I'm kind of looking for?
This may sound conceited, but not necessarily. Whether it's a fool's confidence or not, I don't have that issue dealing with, or not looking confident.
Not looking confident. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Some bees will obviously slump shoulders is one, right? Posture, shoulders up, chest out. Not doing the same things we were not looking for earlier. Crossed arms. If you're sitting there like this, you look closed off. Don't put your hands all the way in your pockets. That makes you look nervous. If you're going to put them in, just the fingertips, thumbs out, right? A little more casual look.
Ooh, talk to people. Be fun and engaging.
If I will tell you, the best way to get a girl's attention at a spot is to be engaged in conversation with your friends and look like you guys are the party. If you're laughing and having a good time and doing your thing, everybody else in the room will notice that, and they naturally will want to gravitate and be a part of that group.
So I know there's like the spot we normally go to, there's a lot of parties, right? Maybe we can do it for Homeboy. I'm just not gonna say his name, but Homeboy's birthday, if that happens.
Sure.
We need to I'm sure that's what he plans on doing, but we should get like a section or something and see what kind of difference that makes.
Section for free with that.
Oh, yeah, that's right, because that's his homie.
The new place, yeah. So we're definitely going to be able to do the section in there. We just got to make sure that the club is full.
Yeah,
that's really what it comes down to. That we can take advantage of it. Right?
Is his birthday after the rodeo?
Yeah, it's in April.
Okay, yeah, that'd be good then.
Yeah,
that'd be good.
Yeah.
It'd be back to normal.
Yep. Making sure that you approach her from the side.
Yes. Do not walk up behind her. You're going to creep her out.
You will definitely creep her out. You will startle her, and she will be like, what the hell? Why am I being ambushed? I can't even see you from here.
Well, exactly. I can't see you, so you've just been staring at the back of my head.
That's the other reason I like to make eye contact first and make sure that you guys are in the line of sight of each other, so you can know who's coming up to you. Have you already understood who they are, what they look like? Don't blindside them. Introducing yourself is a big part of it. I know some people have been told in the past to just come up with some ridiculous pickup line, like from like the Fresh Prince or something from back in the day, like.
Yeah, but if you can't think of anything.
Are your feet tired, girl? Because you've been running through my mind all day. Don't do those. That's a later on kind of thing when she knows your personality.
Well, not only that, but it's so much better to just come natural and introduce yourself than to try to say something and sound cool, because then they can smell blood in the water. She knows when you're trying too hard.
Yeah, knows when you're trying too hard, or not
sound like a fool.
In what you're saying.
Yeah, or like you sound like a fool rather than just going, "Hi, I'm Chase. It's nice to meet you. Just thought I'd say hi. That dress looks astounding on you. Your hair is on point. Whatever." I wouldn't go that much into it. I'm just giving more examples.
That's funny you brought that up. I was talking to another person earlier about that. And sometimes when you address fingernails or jewelry or something like that, you give off a very slight feminine energy.
Right. You have to be very specific about what you say. I personally have never used those specific things.
So I try to tend to stay away from things that I personally don't care about, because in reality, do I care about your fingernails? No,
absolutely not. No.
Do I care what necklace you're wearing? No, I don't at all.
But like you can
you
like
know,
a girl's hairstyle, like that
hairstyle,
yeah,
maybe,
or make it a joke, not necessarily like this, but I guess you kind of would have to know them more. They have to be into that sort of thing, but just, ooh, girl, look at your hair, something stupid like that.
But that's not the opener.
No, it's
that's
not
what we're talking about. We're talking
okay,
about
I
the
see what you're saying,
approaching stage. Yeah, that's after the fact. That's after like you know each other. You've been hanging out for 30, 40 minutes already, and you can be a goofball, right? Talking about what's going on around you, we already kind of went over that a little bit. You can use the club as an example and just, hey, like we talked about with other people approaching her or whatever is going on, type of music, telling her a joke. That's a huge one. I feel like
it's got to be good.
That's, and not maybe like a traditional haha knock knock joke, but like more of just like being funny and witty to the point where she can laugh and let her guard down and be in a comfortable place with you. Because one of the mistakes that I see is a lot of guys, when they dress the part, and we've seen this when we go out, they look good or they think they look good, to the point where they're dressed better than they probably ever dress normally. And they walk in, they're all confident, and they're swagging, and they're walking through the crowd smiling and doing, basically doing that without actually doing it. They are almost protruding such a cocky confidence that it's a turn off.
It looks like a douchebag.
They look like a douchebag, or they just look like they're not.
Call it frat boy energy.
You can't be relaxed around them.
Yeah.
So and most dudes are not that guy.
No,
they're not drop dead gorgeous. They're not They can't just walk through the crowd and all the girls are just throwing their panties at them like the Mick Jaggers back in the day. And it's just not what it is, right? You have to have more things when you come to the table, especially with personality, than just your looks. So make sure that you have some sort of personality. Be comical. And then the last thing I have just on this segment here, where do you recommend is a question that we got in the DMs. So where do you recommend approaching girls?
Oh, outside of like the library, I really don't recommend the gym unless you just are that guy.
Unless you have a good body.
Yeah, you have a good body. You're taller.
Starting out, maybe. Not the move, right?
Sounds corny, but the library is a decent place. If you have any other hobbies, like I've met girls through competitive dog frisbee and stuff like that.
And that kind of goes into what I was going to say about it. We talked about it in one of the previous episodes, but playing to your strengths. Know what your strengths are and show them off in that environment. So wherever you're the most comfortable, if you are athletic, use that to your advantage. Go somewhere where your athleticness can show off.
Yeah, like a rec softball league or something like that.
Something like that, right? If you're kick-ass at playing golf, great. Go to putt-putt and talk to some girls and help them with their swing, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Find your niche. Go there.
If you play video games, get on online chat rooms. Yeah, or that too. Yeah, get on online chat rooms.
With that, you just need clout, which means you need to probably be amazing at the game and then upload those videos of how amazing you are.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I mean? But there is an avenue for that if that's your whole thing. But you have to have some looks to back it up. You can't be the sloppy dude, with Cheetos running down his shirt, and then just because you're good at shooting people in Call of Duty, you're gonna get girls. That doesn't work that way.
No.
So you still have to have all the other skills that we're talking about, the conversational skills, the humor, everything else. Did you have anything else on that topic before we move to the next one? Okay. Strategies for initiating conversations. Okay. Thoughts first before I go over. I only have 3 bullet points for this one, so it'll be a fast one.
Just in general, think about what you would say kind of in a specific situation or in general, like where you're going. Think about, the kind of people you want to approach. That's going to do a lot for you, so you don't have to think about it as much in the moment. You may look less nervous. I don't recite word for word what I'm going to say, but I may think of something ironic or witty that I might be able to bring up naturally in conversation, that it flows more natural, make you seem more comfortable. Most guys probably aren't doing that.
Yeah.
Look for the right signals. If you're in the library, you're probably going to find someone who's more shy and reserved, so you have to think about how you're going to approach them.
Yeah, different approaches for different
the signals are going to look different too, from the library to, say, I don't know, you're going to the arcade or you're going to, mini golf or something.
Right. Aside from my bullet points here, just general things that I like to do is when I approach. Well, actually, one of my things is introducing yourself, making intentional eye contact, making sure that you're not looking anywhere else, looking down. Eye contact while you're speaking with her is going to be the key. It shows that you're engaged and it shows that you're interested in what she's saying. And you're also showing off your overall looks.
Look at the tatas later.
Yeah, look at them later. Or just use your peripherals, right?
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
This is a good one that I probably need to work on myself, but I do know that it's a thing. Asking her name and then repeating it back to her so that you don't forget it 15 minutes into the conversation, because I can't tell you how many times I'm like, what was your name again?
Yeah.
Who are you?
I don't remember names.
Yeah. So, Mariah, nice to meet you, blah, 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 right?
Yeah.
Not one that I have written down, but the way that I hold my hand out is a good one. I call it the princess hold. So you can call it whatever you want. You're basically sticking the palm of your hand up and extending it so that when they place their hand in yours, it's almost like a princess, right? That goes a long way compared to a typical handshake. It makes them feel more like a lady. It makes you feel like you're more elegant with them, and you know what you're doing with it. And then the last one that I got is giving her a unique compliment. So something very specific to what's going on either around her or to her.
It should also be something that was an intentional or a conscious decision that she made. Not necessarily, oh, you have pretty eyes. Oh, I like the way you. Yeah, that's probably gonna. Yeah, it's probably gonna.
Especially if she does have pretty eyes, everybody's told her that already.
You're right. You're just
so be unique.
Yeah, you're just another resume in the pile at that point.
So kind of going into what one we talked about on the other ones, where was the girl that fell down back in the day for me.
Yeah.
Right. I used the icebreaker of, hey, are you okay? And she's like, what do you mean? Well, I seen you fall.
I saw you eat shit.
Yeah. And she's like, oh my God, so embarrassing. I was like, it's all right. You still look cute, though. So I gave her a compliment after kind of giving her a jab, right? So those kind of things are what's going to go a long way as far as making you seem different than everybody else. So do you have any other examples or anything of that?
Anything specific? I mean, I've said this before. I like to be witty. If I'm around someone, not just hovering behind them waiting for my shot. It's not like that. You're in there. You're already doing the things we talked about. You're in their line of sight. You're around them. You just naturally, by what's going on, and they say something, and there's a natural way for me to make a joke or say something ironic or just slide into the conversation. If I get a good reaction, if they laugh, whatever, I'm in. If not, oh, that's okay. I'm still here having a good time.
Yeah. The DM that I got specifically for this topic is, should I be myself?
1000%, unless you're like a serial killer.
I say it depends on if you know yourself or not. If you are a calm, casual, cool, collected guy, then absolutely be yourself. If you are not that guy and you're going to be a nervous wreck and you're going to stutter or you're going to talk about some off-the-wall nonsense, don't do that.
But you can become that guy with some work, though.
Yes. So I guess the better answer to the question is be yourself after you work on yourself.
If you need some help with that, check out the link tree. There's a link to dating coaching.
Check out the videos.
Yeah.
God damn it. Yeah. We have a lot of good videos out now that are getting a little bit overlooked, but definitely check them out. Okay, next subject. First date tips. The do's and don'ts of a successful first date. Let me hear your thoughts.
So first off, if she's already attracted to you and that's like known, she's like playfully touching you or she's making jokes back or whatever.
Yep.
You can get away with a lot of absurdities. That might be the point where I kind of push the line a little bit and see how far I can take it without being creepy or perverse kind of way. You definitely have to do something fun and engaging.
Okay.
Hey, can we go to dinner and a movie? You're just another piece of paper in the stack of resumes.
That's actually a big one for me. Continue. Yeah.
Actually, I say no movie because, like, why would you go on a date to a movie?
Spot.
Hey, you want to sit here with me and not talk?
Yeah, no, that's the third, fourth date where you can just touch each other inappropriately in theaters.
Again, yeah, exactly.
That's not a first date thing.
Yeah. Again, compliment a conscious decision that she has made, right?
Okay.
Your hair looks, I like the way you did your hair today, you know, something
Okay.
along
First,
those lines.
that's a good
That
icebreaker when she
dress
gets
looks
there.
fantastic on you,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And depending on the kind of girl, don't be afraid to play it up a little bit. Be like, damn, that dress looks good on you. You know, something like that. In my experience, for the most part.
Don't be like, oh man, what? I gotta go change my pants.
Yeah, no. That's way too far.
You know,
But
it's a little bit creepy. Don't be creepy.
But
yeah,
if you get a little animated in that way and still keep it reined in, you typically get a good reaction. At least I've gotten a good reaction.
Okay.
I wouldn't point out physical aspects of her unless she brings it up first, or she says it about you. Oh, you have beautiful eyes. Thank you. So do you. You know, something like that. Or
okay.
I don't think in general it's good to try to be too sexy or edgy.
Never.
Unless she's leaning into it already.
Yeah, if she just thinks you're God's gift to Earth and you look like Thor, then sure.
Well,
but if you don't, then
yeah, I got
let's
that
put
hammer.
that aside. You know
no, but more so like if she is bringing up, if she's like throwing out sexual innuendos or just bringing up topics of conversation that could be a little more out there, then yeah, it's okay to go there. But otherwise, no.
Sure.
Don't act too excited.
Okay.
Try to match her enthusiasm. So like if I've actually messed this up. I was trying out that dating guru stuff. And I was on a date with a chick on Bumble. And it probably would have went a lot better if I, did more, try to match her energy, which was natural for me anyway. Be more reserved, more kind of sitting back, like, hey, let's kind of take this slow and not just be, oh yeah, like totally into this right now. Just intense the whole time. Total fail. Super.
So
cringe.
Almost like don't look desperate.
Yeah,
right?
It comes off as desperate.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's probably it. Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna piggyback on what you said about the date idea. Personally, movies are the worst idea, I think. And I actually, when I coach people, would never recommend dinner or lunch or any kind of food unless it's an afterthought to the actual date.
Yes.
So
if you're enjoying it, go after.
That's right. So the actual date should be something fun and engaging. It's supposed to be memorable, it's supposed to be unique, and it's supposed to emphasize your personality. So something I like to do, being somebody who likes to play games, is take them to the arcade.
Yeah, 1,000%.
It's simple. You guys can play with those Connect 4 games that they have that are competitive, or the little basketball shootouts, all sorts of different things. And you could bust each other's balls during the whole time. You can make bets like, oh, well, I guess the winner of this has to get a kiss, right? Something.
So I did that.
You can do so many things at a simple event like that, whether it's mini golf or anything, that it takes the pressure off. It takes the edge off, because now both people, if competitive, are focused more on the game than engaging and being in an uncomfortable situation with a stranger.
Yeah, can they have fun with you? That's a big
dinner. You're stuck staring at each other and talking about boring shit like work. It's not going to be memorable the next day. She's not going to want to text you. It's just not good. Now, after the fact of done at the arcade or the mini golf or whatever, you still want to hang out? You want to go grab drinks and have something to eat? Yes. Then you go.
And if she is outperforming you, whether it's mini golf, it's the arcade, I'm losing other ideas.
Whatever.
Off the top of my, whatever it is.
Sure. Bowling
is one I thought about on the way over here. Yeah, bowling.
Sure.
If you're doing terrible and she's not, lean into it. Don't act all upset or whatever, but she will find that endearing.
I'd be like, our kids are going to be genetic freaks.
Yeah. So actually, I took a chick to an arcade one time. And we were playing air hockey, and I'm like, she wanted to play air hockey. I was trying to avoid it because I'm really good at air hockey.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, let's play. I was like, I got to warn you. I was like, I don't hold back on women.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, we'll see. I was up 7-0. And I was like, I started letting her score on me, and it was 7-7. And I was like, 8 was the number to win. And I said, she was laughing at me. She's like, what are you doing? I said, if I beat you, I get a kiss at the end of the night. And like an idiot, I scored on myself. But I leaned into it. I don't remember exactly what I said, but she busted out laughing at that point, and I said something self-deprecating.
Something good, yeah.
I scored.
Yeah,
I scored.
So, and for the record, I am awful at air hockey. I
Yeah.
hate playing it. I can't. I refuse.
I'm not good at bowling. I sit there and
what
like
it
try to
is.
throw it betwing my legs a lot and get a strike doing that.
Mm.
It usually happens 1 out of 12 times. So then I can be like, I told you.
That's all right. So I'll run through my topics. Punctuality, arriving on time for the date, very important on the first date. Don't be late, you idiots.
Plan to be at least I plan to be like 10 minutes early.
If you're on CPT time, fix it.
Yes.
Okay. Be yourself, which kind of what we talked about already, but authenticity is the key. Don't try to be someone you're not. Focusing on being comfortable and having fun. That is the key, kind of what we're talking about in your dates. Engaging in meaningful conversations. So ask open-ended questions to learn about your date's interests and opinions, not just yes or no answers. Basically, this goes into the psychology of women and why they think a date is good. And it's because if they're talking about themselves, the date is going well.
Mhm.
So ideally, you want them to do all the talking until spoken to.
Yes.
And this is
exactly.
usually just in the dating process. Once you're in a relationship, it's different. But in this initial phase, you want them to open up. The more they tell you, every little thing about them is going to be ammunition for later on down the road. Whether it's presents for dating, or holidays and things that you'll see, birthdays, or certain people in her friends group that you should know that she may talk about more than others. All of that stuff goes into the active listening that we talked about last time. Choose a relaxing venue. So we kind of talked about that. Nothing that's too loud, distracting. Following up. Good to have manners to check in after the first date and thank the other person for spending time with you.
You don't think that's too corny?
It's very corny if done too soon. And that's why I wanted to stop at this point before I go further.
So
because there's more, but
yeah, give me some ammo here.
I wait one day. I don't text the next day.
And then what do you say?
The following day, after that one day passes, 24 hours, I would start the conversation with something that's going to happen or be pertinent in our lives, me and the other date, going forward. So,
do you have an example?
Sure. So an example would be, let's say we went out on a Friday night. I skipped Saturday. Sunday, we text her again, right? Sunday said, hey, had a great time with you. Maybe I know now that she works Monday through Friday. I'll say, are you ready for your work week? Just to start the casual conversation going into it, right? You can change it to something, let's say you went on a date during the week, Wednesday. Skip Thursday, now you're texting it's Friday. Hey, I'm free tonight. What are you doing tonight? Had fun last time. You want to go out again? So depending on the time of the week, what your situation is, right, then you're going to tailor the conversation towards what's the next thing that me and you can talk about. What can we do together again? So you're kind of thanking her indirectly. You're just saying that you had a good time. Hey, thank you for coming out with me. You did me such a big favor because I'm a nerd and nobody ever wants to go out with me. No, that's not what we're doing here. We're saying I had a good time to let her know that you thought the date went well. And she'll respond with, I had a great time too. Now you know that you're okay.
Ooh.
If she doesn't do that, different. But what were you going to say?
I just thought of a good question. You can finish whatever you're doing, but I'm not going to forget this.
Okay, don't forget.
Well, it's related to this. If we're going to move on,
then go ahead.
Okay, so
I'm going to go to the next one.
When do you know that you can go in for the kiss?
For the kiss. Okay, so she's going to give you all the signs. So depends on where you are. Let me give you a couple examples. So you have a couple of things to play off.
For the record, I have botched this more so not knowing that she wanted me to kiss her and not kissing her, and then her being like, did you not have fun with me? I thought you liked me.
Yeah.
Yes, I did. I missed it. I'm sorry.
So first one is going to be the body language throughout the night. Is she flirting with you? Is she touching on you? Right? If she's doing those things, it's most likely going to end in a good way. If she's keeping her distance and not touching, but just laughing and having a good time, then she may be looking for a slower approach. That's just signs to look for during the date. As we get further towards the end of the date, you're going to know based on how you guys begin to separate. So is it, let me walk you to your car kind of situation?
I was going to ask about stuff like that, yeah.
Stuff like that. So that's usually what I would do. That's the proper thing to do, not just for romanticism or chivalry, but because you don't want something to happen to her on a date that she's walking back to her car, right?
So same thing with like if you pick her up, walk her to her door. That's not too corny or cheesy. If
I
guess
wouldn't walk her to the door. Not on a first date. And those days are kind of done, I think. So if you picked her up, I would drop her off unless the door is far away from where you are. Like if you can see the door and you're in the street and it's right there, let her do the goodbye kiss in the car and go out to the door.
How do you feel about opening and closing the door for her? More of a courting her on the first date.
I don't do it.
So
it's dead.
I'm conflicted about it because
dead tradition.
there are a good chunk of women that still want a man to kind of court them in the early days.
Tell me how many bodies they have first. It's dead. I'm telling you, it's dead. They don't deserve it anymore.
I guess.
Fuck them and the dicks they wrote in on.
Yeah. Another thing for me is my older brother used to. I mean, he's been a mega player.
Different if it's your girlfriend.
Okay. Different if it's your girlfriend. Okay.
If you've already committed to this as a relationship and I think that you are worth being in a relationship with me and I respect you, different. Then absolutely be chivalrous all the time. It's your girlfriend. Treat her like she deserves to be treated. Random girl that you're going on a date with that may just ghost you after tonight and used you for dinner, she can open her own damn door.
Okay.
Yeah, that's just the way it is. So, yeah, that's just my take on it. There are certain things that died along with the birth of the internet.
Yeah.
And women empowerment. And that's one of them. So, unfortunately. Just to go back to the question, when to go in for the kiss. If you're going to walk her back to the car, you're at the bar, you're at the club, you're whatever, you're taking her to her car, you stop at her car, she's saying goodnight, she will usually initiate, because almost 99% of the time there will be a goodbye hug. That's where you have to read the body language and figure out, is she turning her head and just giving me a hug and trying to let go quickly and back up? Or is she lingering and almost looking at you? That subtle body language is going to tell you everything. If she's trying to hold you for an extra couple of 2-3 seconds, she's waiting for something additional. If she's lingering, what you can do to test the boundaries if you're still not sure is slowly move your hands from the hug position to the back of her head. Just up to her shoulders. No, just the back, like the neck.
Okay.
If you move it to the shoulders and neck area,
feels dangerous if you don't know.
She will lean up like this and let you put her neck in your hand. Like from the back.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So you're holding the back of her head. From there, you can move her in. You see what I'm saying? Subtle things, just small body language cues like that. So that is not easy to do right off the bat. That's something you'll have to practice and try a couple times and really pay attention to what she's doing. But little things like that are what you can tell. Obviously, there's other times where they're very forward girls and they just lean in for it and you don't have to do anything. That's always ideal, especially in this modern age where people are claiming they got, raped. So there's a lot of things like that. So men are more skeptical than they've ever been before because of those kind of things. So I get it. Definitely know how the date went. Look for everything throughout the date. Figure out what the body language is. Is she giving you the signals? And go from there. And a lot of times you'll know based on even the conversation. Because if you're still at the fun spot, let's say the arcade or wherever you were during that date, and then you asked her, do you want to get food after? And she said no. Probably not a good sign.
Yeah, no.
Right?
Absolutely, yeah.
So if she's shutting down the after hours portion, then you already know. Unless there's a valid reason. No, I got to get for work in like 5 hours. I got to go to bed. Okay, that's different. But, just figure it out. But I think that answers the question.
Yeah, right? Yeah, I like that.
To not overdo the alcohol. If you're having drinks, make sure that you are not getting sloppy. So know your limits, especially as the man, because I have seen far too many times where the guy is supposed to be the leader in that situation.
Yeah. If you're pissed drunk, you can't protect a woman.
You can't do anything. You look terrible. It's not a good. I went on vacation with a couple maybe weeks ago, a month ago, too. And the gentleman got to the point where he was taking his shirt off and dancing on the tables. And no one else was doing that. He was the only one doing that outside. Okay.
Oh, God.
And he's a 40-something-year-old gentleman that You know, granted, he's not out of shape, but he should not have been doing it in his 40s. You know what I mean? You got a bunch of 20, 30-year-old kids dancing to music on the dance floor, and you got this 45-year-old dude swinging his shirt around and, you know,
dude's gone wild.
just humping in the air and trying to like. It was very awkward.
Remember we talked
embarrassed
earlier.
Everybody.
Remember we talked earlier about things that women do that we don't even think about would be weird or creepy, but then a dude does it.
It was terrible. If a girl did that, we'd all be like, "Look at her,
everybody be like,
yeah."
What can I see from here?
That's right.
You know, it's funny you actually bring that up. It's almost like another vulnerable moment for you that you should not show a woman in general that you're trying to court or
correct. Now these people were already together for a couple of years, so I'm sure she's used to that kind of behavior. She's seen it before.
Yeah,
but still, it's a bad look to her friends who, like myself, just met him for the first time. It's like, weird. Why is he acting like that? Can't handle his liquor.
Not only that, but at what point does she start to see it as a turnoff, or does
she may already? But he makes a lot of money to the point where she don't care.
Oh, well,
that's different. She's invested in a lifestyle at this point.
Yeah, that's different.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's a whole nother topic we can get into one day. Those couple, but offering to pay the bill. So obviously, in this day and age, it's almost expected for the man to pay the bill, right? I would say the initiator of the date should pay the bill.
I agree.
So whoever that is, if the woman is pursuing you, which is an extremely rare case, then maybe she can pay, or you can offer to pay in that situation still.
I was going to say you should at least offer.
Would you like me to pay?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or I've had an amazing time. I would like to pay.
If you're having a good
time. Yeah. If you're having a good time.
If you asked her out, then I would pay for that first date. But that's why just talking about finances for a minute. If you're not balling out of control, and it's
you shouldn't be going on a date anyway. That's going to cost you money.
Shouldn't. But most guys don't think with their upstairs brain.
Yeah.
So they'll do things when they're with an attractive woman that they normally shouldn't do, or try to flex a little too hard, even though it's going to hurt the next day.
Well, since you want to bring that up, let's just get that out there. She's not giving you any boys. It doesn't matter what you spend on her. It's probably not happening anyway. Anyway, continue.
Yeah. So that's we'll leave that at money until people ask more questions maybe about it in depth later on. But leaving when you're comfortable. So don't feel pressure to stay longer on the date than when you're comfortable or when the conversation has run dry.
Oh my God. I dated a chick. I went on a date with a chick. She catfished me, by the way. And it was the first time I got catfished, so I had no idea how to handle it, really.
Okay.
I was like, you know what? It's fine. We'll just go to brunch. It'll be 40 minutes, and then I can get on with my life. We sat there for 2 hours, and then I'm like, oh, how do I get out of this without being a dick? That was rough.
Yeah, you got to... Let's just say we are at dinner. That's an easy example because that's where most people probably end up going that don't see this thing and me yelling at them not to go to dinner. When you're at dinner and you're having that conversation, if it starts to run dry and you know that the conversation is going south and you're just kind of sitting there in an awkward silence, it's time to wrap it up.
It's time to go. Yeah.
Because that ain't just the one then. You have to have a connection with somebody to the point where you can communicate with them freely about almost anything. Have a couple of... This is more for like the beginners, I would say. Have a couple of topics.
Yeah, think about it.
Before the date that you can bring up that aren't politically charged. Maybe something that's just in the news, but positive.
Yeah.
I know it's hard because the news is always a negative source of information.
You're not trying to write a script. You're just trying to...
Something that's going on.
Be slightly premeditated.
Something positive in the neighborhood. Did you see the new store going up or whatever location may be nearby? If she lives in your town, she may know what you're talking about. And it's a point of conversation. You can figure out more about her with those kind of things. So,
quick PSA to any dudes out there watching. If you're just taking her to dinner and you're not 100% sure she's into you, you're probably just a free meal.
Yes. Never talk about past relationships during the first date. And if she's doing that, also a red flag.
That's a huge red flag. That said, I've been seeing this asked a lot lately. How do you feel about the question, why did you and your ex break up? And whose fault do you think it was?
How do I feel about it asked to a man or a woman?
Both.
If she asks me that question, I don't feel hurt by it. I would say I could answer it honestly. I would more have to think about why she's asking that question. What triggered it? Like that question to come out of her mouth? Like, is that something that was pre-planned and she came into this date asking that? Or did I say something or something happened in the previous conversation to trigger that question to come out as a follow-up? If that is the case, she's curious about your past for a reason. And it could be good or bad. And I say the bad could be because something happened where you said something that could trigger, oh, maybe he's toxic and I need to find out why that last relationship was this, that, the other thing. Or it could be positive because she's like, this guy's amazing. Why the hell would anybody leave him? So you got to kind of weigh out the situation with that one and see what the reasoning behind the question is. Now, I don't think a man should ever ask that question. And I'll tell you the reason.
I'm not big on it either.
The reason being is because men care about the past and the women don't.
Mm-hmm.
We care about how many bodies they have. We care about who they've been with. We care about their past relationships. We care about criminal records. We care about drugs. We care about everything that's happened. It's very important because we like to predict the future and where this relationship is going to go based on their past. Women are more focused on the future. They're going to be focusing on how much money is this going to make in 10 years? Where's my family going to be? Are we going to have a house? How many kids are we going to have? That's what they're focused on. So we're working on two different things. So for a man to ask about the past, I get that you care about it, but you're most likely going to dig into information that you don't want to know.
I agree.
Especially when it has to do with an ex.
I agree.
So I avoid those types of questions because the less you know about her past, the better. You will appreciate her more. The more that you dig into it, almost all of them are going to have a bad past.
Yeah.
So I would just avoid it if you're trying to have a relationship. There's no sense in you knowing. All you're going to do is hurt yourself. You're going to hurt your own feelings. You're going to hurt your own pride. And you're really just not going to think of her the same way, which by default is going to make you treat her differently.
And if she's bringing that stuff up casually often, that's hit the road, pal. Get out of there.
Yeah. It's everybody's going to have their own set of standards for red flags. You know, I personally don't think that that's a red flag if she's asking me that question.
Not necessarily the question, but like what I mentioned just a second ago.
Yeah.
If she's casually bringing stuff up in conversation
about her past.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, that's not great. Obviously, what that shows me is she has a very low empathetic intelligence towards her partner. She doesn't understand triggers for the other male species, basically. She doesn't understand what's going to upset us. She's not going to understand what's going to make you happy. She's not going to know how to do anything the right way for you to make her feel like a wife in the future, because she is oblivious to what makes you tick. She's done zero research, or she thinks she can just show up and she's the prize. And that's the unfortunate side effect for a lot of women these days, is they think they can show up, put on a tight pair of pants, and they are the prize.
Mm-hmm.
Great. You're the prize in the bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, you're not the prize anymore. It's just the way it works. There are other things we look for to give out the ring. So going a little bit deeper into that, and I'm sure you've heard this sentiment before, but women give out sex. Men give out relationships.
Yes.
We hold two different cards that we are trying to play. They're pursuing the relationship. They're trying to get that from us. So what women fail to realize is they have to put in work to get that.
And that doesn't mean in the bedroom.
It does not, because that means we won. We got what we wanted first.
Yes.
We're looking to get in the pants.
Why buy the cow when the milk's free?
If we get in the pants, we're already on an edge. We can walk away at any point.
Mm-hmm.
It's their job to prove that they have more utility than that to keep us around. And women are not going to like this, and I'm sure this is going to be one of the clips.
Preach!
But very important for both genders to know and hear this and really understand it and not take offense to it. So being negative or boastful is my next one. So refrain from complaining excessively or bragging too much. Try to present a balanced and positive look.
So I actually have a question on that.
Yes.
I like to try to relate to a date if she's talkative and she talks about something and I'm like, oh, I can relate to that. And I get an opening. I kind of go into it. Like she talks about, we talked about that special place. She may bring up SeaWorld. Oh man, I love SeaWorld. My dad used to work for a company that got free tickets all the time. We used to go there all the time. I love SeaWorld, talk about a funny moment or whatever. And I've had women tell me that that sounds like boastful. I'm like, no, I'm relating to you.
No, it is. So I'll tell you why. So it's okay to relate, but your response should be 1 or 2 sentences. And that's it. So remember what we talked about, letting her talk. So if she says 5 to 10 sentences, you should have 1 or 2. It's always going to be about a 10% share between the two of you guys. So if she starts talking about SeaWorld, you can chime in and say, oh yeah, I love SeaWorld. I go there all the time. I used to have season tickets. That's it.
Okay.
Unless she asks about going forward.
Make her dig.
Yeah. Mystery is what intrigues the woman. The
Right.
less she knows, the more interested she's going to be going forward.
Okay, yeah.
So always keep that air of mystery. If you say too much, what's going to happen is now you're the center of the conversation. Now she's not happy anymore. Now her mind is going to start wandering because she's not listening to you anymore.
Okay.
Now she's going to go elsewhere and she's going to like, when is this guy going to shut up? Now she's not having fun. Now she's not going to call you back. Right? So it's kind of like a ripple effect. So relating is good in small doses. And only if it's a meaningful relation.
Right. Yeah, it's not just anything random.
Like
it's
if
just...
she was like, I sell shoes. Like, well, I tie my shoes too.
Yeah,
like,
no.
It's not good enough to continue on about. So this is a big one for me. And it really probably is one of my pet peeves and irritates me if I'm out with somebody. Being on the phone.
Yes, put your phone away.
I put that shit down, face down. Don't look at it. It's done. I'm not looking at it. It's on silent.
I'll turn it off if I really like the girl.
Communicating with you. So if you're on your phone and I'm just talking to myself, and this goes into the relationship portion too.
Yeah.
I cannot tell you how frustrated I get if I'm dating a girl and I have to repeat myself 3 times because she's too busy on her damn phone all the time. I'll straight up tell a girl, I am going to throw that phone against the wall. And she'll be like, what are you talking about? I'm like, trust me. Listen to me, or I'm going to throw it against the wall because we are having a conversation, especially if it's pull it out in the middle of the conversation. I'm already talking to you, you're engaged for 2 seconds, and then she's like, no.
It even bothers me.
Just tell me you're not interested. You don't care.
Yeah.
Then we'll move on.
It even bothers me if I'm like out with my parents to dinner and they just sit there on their phones. I'm like, we're not going to have a conversation. Like, what's going on?
It's horrible.
Yeah.
Or it's just
so
social
bad.
interactions in general in the modern day. So if you have the habit of that, try to fix it. You are going to hurt yourself in dates if you have that as a problem. Men and women, again.
Yes. It's a huge red flag on both sides.
It's so irritating. You're just going to turn people off from wanting to be around you.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be fun. That's the whole thing. People want to have fun in every day of their life. People spend way too much time, 40 hours a week or more, working. They spend tons of time doing mindless activities that they don't want to do. Washing clothes, doing dishes, mowing the lawn, cleaning up around the house, taking care of kids. If they're out with another human being, they're there to have fun. They are not there to be mindlessly bored or distracted with their phone that they can do at home that they didn't have to get ready for and they don't have to spend money to do. Change that. Get rid of that mindset immediately. Whatever you have going on your phone, either turn it off, stop working. And if you're one of those people who can't stop fucking working, then you don't need to be dating.
Agreed.
You have to find time. That's just the way it is. Debates and harsh topics.
Ooh.
So debating anything like we talked about in the past, religion, politics, harsh topics, pregnancies, abortions. I mean, you name it. If it's a harsh topic, it's probably not meant for that first date.
Absolutely not.
Anything that could be a trigger. Intense discussions. So intense discussions are good if they're on mutual playing ground. So
right.
If you find a woman is a history buff and you happen to know something about history as well, great. Now you can have a great discussion where you're both educated on a topic and you can have a discussion about it. I have found that most women are not educated on a whole lot of topics. The only thing that they're educated on is purses, makeup, the things that they're interested in, and most men are not interested in those things. So it's very hard to find a relatable ground of something that they're both educated on. So if you can find it, great. It may be something to spark an interest. Books. I've seen people relate over Harry Potter books, things of, right? You'll talk about scenarios in the book, or hey, do you think this means something else? And maybe theory craft. You can go as far as like zodiac signs, women like that. If you know anything about that, you can spitball that kind of stuff. So there are a lot of things that you can relate about and have some serious discussions. Any ideas?
Yeah, I would say that just because she talks about it or says she likes it or is involved in some way, shape, or form, it doesn't mean she can hold a conversation about it.
Right.
So don't let your mood or whatever you have going for you get ruined by that. I went on a date with a girl. She had a master's in psychology, and I started trying to talk to her about it. And she just blank face, just talking about like different styles and stuff because she worked with kids. Just talk about different styles and things like that. And complete blank stare. She had no idea what I was talking about. I'm like, this is literally your day job, but
Right.
okay. Just do you see that as like a red flag or something?
People
Or
talking about their day job and that
no,
kind of
like
stuff,
if it's something they're involved in and they can't hold any kind of conversation about it, like that's the one thing they should be able to hold a conversation about, right?
a lot of people. I hate to keep going and berating the women, but a lot of women can't hold conversation. They don't have conversational skills to begin with. I have been in too many, not conflicts, but conversations with women that may get heated, where you're expressing your point or an opinion to them and using logic and telling them, hey, I think this, and this because this, and this. And don't you agree? And they have no response. And a lot of time it's because they have a thought process, but they are not able to formulate it into words. That's very frustrating. I'll tell you, I've gone through that quite a bit. Obviously, we do speaking now for a living, so it's kind of different because obviously my ability to do this is probably higher than most people that don't do this line of work. But at least some semblance of a conversation would be great. A lot of times you have to dig the information out of them. They say, don't just say nothing. Don't tell me just yes or no. I almost start putting sentences in their mouth to dig it out. So I say, do you think blah, 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 blah? And then they'll say yes or no. I say, okay, well, if you think that, then do you agree with me? Then they can say yes or no. You know what I mean? So you have to almost really pry it out of them. There's no nice way around that, unfortunately. It's very frustrating. And even in all my years of doing this, I don't think I've found a way to get around conversating that doesn't want to have a conversation. It's very tricky because if they're just quiet or they just shrug, what I will tell you, what I have found is don't let it upset you.
Right.
Don't let it infuriate you. It's they're lacking in a skill set, and it's not anything to do with you or how they want to treat you or push your buttons, right? It's just something that they don't have a skill for, so you gotta let it be or be so masterful in your skill that you can still get the information from them without them physically coming up with them themselves.
That takes time and effort and experience.
Yeah, it takes a lot. It does. But the better you can get at that, you're going to win 90% of your arguments.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because you're almost changing their thought process by putting the words and sentences in their mouth and having them agree with you. To the point where they're just either going to say yes and agree, or they're just going to be over it and just move on and say whatever, and they just give up because they're tired of the conversation. The question that we had from the DMs was, can you give me some date ideas? We kind of did that already, so we can skip past that part, but we'll go to the next topic of emotional intelligence and understanding your emotions. So I've got more bullet points for that. Do you want to start us off, or do you want me to jump into some of them and just give some retorts?
It's probably better for you to jump into it.
Okay.
Just have broad strokes, really.
So to not assume that your partner is a mind reader and to take ownership of your feelings. So this, again, goes for men and women. Don't think that your partner is the mind reader. Even if you feel like something is obvious when you are in a situation where you're conflicting with somebody, you may decide to give the silent treatment and feel like they should know what's going on and how to fix it. And most people don't.
Mm-mm.
And I know we talked about conversation and arguments and things on the last podcast. What I don't think I mentioned is advice for how to get through one of those situations. If you're having an argument with a significant other, a spouse or something like that, and you live under the same roof, A lot of times, going to separate rooms or having a silent treatment moment is going to be what happens by default. You have to collect your thoughts as the man, whatever that takes, 30 minutes, an hour, and then go and end the silent treatment. Force yourself in, go into the room, sit down in a calm, rational voice. Hey, this is what I think. Not here to yell at you. Don't want to be mad at you. This is what I think we should do to fix this and solve this situation. What do you think? Let's talk about it. That's without yelling at each other, right? That would be the best way. If you can do that, I feel like you'll get through it. A lot of what this next section is supposed to be about is supposed to be still about approaching women. So emotional intelligence of handling rejection.
Well, first understanding that you're going to get rejected, right?
Yes.
You're going to get rejected. You could be Fabio, and it's going to happen eight out of 10 times.
Like
Even
you said, everybody is going to be everybody's type. If you're not the tallest, if you're blonde instead of brunette, if you're a redhead, or if you're a certain color skin or ethnicity, guess what? Somebody's eliminating you.
Yeah,
it's just what it is.
Women look to disqualify, and men look to qualify. So, like, you could be a 9, but half the women in the room are going to find one thing that's an ick, and they're just going to be turned off, whether it's stupid or not.
That's a good thing to bring up. This is completely off topic and is not one in my notes, but a side note is what I always tell people is take the easy wins.
Yes.
If you go out and you see a girl that you think is a 9, and let's say you haven't even tried to approach her yet, but the 6 is clearly coming up to you and ready to talk, take the 6. Don't shoot for the 9. Just take the 6.
So broad strokes, that's kind of what I have written down here is understand the situation you're in.
Yep.
Understand the person that you're looking at or the person that you're talking to. What, man, I really would like to hit on that redhead, you know. She's got a nice body, she's got a cute face, but this girl over here who I still think is cute, she's giving me the eye.
She's average, but guess what? That's guaranteed.
Yes.
And you can get somewhere with that right now because you know she's interested. Or you can shoot the shot with that one and get turned down immediately, and then this one watches you do it, and now you're lost altogether.
Yeah.
It's silly to play with your odds like that. Think of it as gambling.
Mm-hmm.
If you can guarantee $1,000 win right here, or you can try for a $10,000 win over there, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
I'm going to take the $1,000 right now and just be done.
Yeah.
I know I'm winning that.
Yeah. Well, it also goes back to, I think, I can't remember if we mentioned this or not, but for me, it's understanding the person that you're approaching. You know, you can understand body language and cues, social cues. You can kind of tell if she looks more outgoing or if she looks more shy and reserved.
Yeah.
And if you're awkward and you're not really good with your words, you probably shouldn't be approaching the outgoing girl who's good talking to everybody, because she's probably looking for someone who's more on her level or who can articulate to a certain point that it's going to impress her, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Taking ownership of your feelings. So hurt and sadness is my first one. Rejection can feel personal, lead to feelings of disappointment and sadness, especially if you've invested time and emotion into the relationship or the situation. So I'm going to go through a couple of different emotions. Obviously, this being the first one, hurt and sad. What do you think?
I think those are things that all men have to learn to deal with. You have no excuse to act out or to treat someone a certain way because of those emotions.
Yeah.
You have to, I guess, learn to expect it and learn how to handle it. For me, a lot of it is premeditation, thinking about these things, thinking about these situations. If this happens, yes, it's going to make me feel this way, but this is how I need to handle it. So if it comes up, I know how to handle it. I can maintain stoicism. I can still be the guy that I should be and not.
A lot of it is just,
have a reaction.
What I find for some people is the problem in this situation. We're going to go through some of the other feelings that you might feel, this just being the first one, sad about it, but all these things are emphasized when you're on alcohol.
Yes, 100%.
So when you're out and you're drinking and you're going to this, you're going to feel that much more sad about being rejected. So you always have to keep in mind, as hard as it is, that this is just the way it is. This is just life. And even if you're sad or rejected, it's okay. Enjoy the rest of the night for what it is. You don't even have to approach anybody else. Don't feel pressured to continue to approach, because that may just ruin your whole night.
Well, not only that, but if you're not feeling it and you still approach someone, they can probably read it on you, right?
Just enjoy your night with your friends
Yeah.
at that point,
Yeah,
right?
just
If
have a good
that,
time.
if so you're done, you're done. Now, if something approaches you, great, then turn your night around, right? You'll
Mhm.
love it, but I wouldn't put the pressure on yourself. The next emotion that you can possibly feel from it, anger and frustration. Sometimes rejection can trigger feelings of anger, frustration, especially if you feel like you were unfairly treated or you feel like the rejection was unjustified. And I know we've ran into that, like when you started the show today, where you said you should be glad I was talking to you in the first place. You
Not
were
that
feeling,
I said that, but
no, I know, but that's kind of the frustration feeling of, I know I'm better than you. Why am I the one being rejected
Mhm.
when you have left the approach up to me?
I think that just goes back to premeditation. It's going to happen. Understand it's going to happen. Get over yourself and accept it. Like, yes, it's going to feel terrible in the moment.
Yeah.
But it's going to happen and
It's
it
gonna
will be
happen.
okay. There will be another shot. There will be another girl. There will be another night. You will have a good time.
Yeah.
Or you can have a good time.
Next one being self-doubt and inadequacy. Rejection can make you question your worth of abilities, leading to feelings of inadequacy and self-doubt. So, do you start to doubt yourself being able to get girls? Do you doubt what you're wearing tonight? Do you doubt how your haircut looks? Do you doubt the shape that you're in, right? All of these things are going to start happening when you're getting rejected. You're like, damn, maybe I don't look good as I think I do. Maybe I'm not the right fit tonight. Maybe these clothes don't fit as well as I thought. Maybe I got man titties. Whatever the fucking thing that is that you feel disconnected with, know that it's a temporary feeling and everybody's going to see you differently.
Yes.
If one person sees you as inadequate, the next person may see you as their Tom Cruise or whatever.
Or they may not
Insert
see the
celebrity here.
inadequacies that you see.
Or, right, completely. They may have lower standards than the next person.
How many times have you dated a girl that's like an 8 or above and she just is constantly talking about something? You're like, what are you talking about? Like, that's foolish. You're beautiful. You know?
Yeah. This spits some nonsense and you're just like, okay.
Yeah. Shut
It's
up.
a good thing you have a nice butt.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
I think I don't want to sound like a broken record and keep repeating myself. So I'll just say, fake it till you make it. If you have to, even you may not feel as confident. You have to learn to go in with that confidence regardless.
That's a good point. I think that going out with your boys helps that.
Yes.
Because almost if you go in, let's say you're the pack of 3 other guys and yourself. If you go in, you get rejected, you're immediately tucking tail and turning right back and going back to the group. There's no better way to pretend and act like everything's okay than when you have to put on a brave face for your boys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And come back and be like, she wasn't worth it. It's whatever. And just move on. When inside, you may feel like, damn, it sucked. I wish you would have said yes. You know what I mean? Or that was the one I was the most attracted to here. Or you can keep all your thoughts to yourself. So the reality is understand your emotions, control them, and move on.
I think another way to look at that specific scenario that you brought up.
Yeah.
Okay, so one girl in here didn't want to talk to you. I came out here to have a good time with the boys. That's why I'm here. We're going to have a good time regardless, you know? It's like, okay, it's not ruining my night. I'm not walking back over to an empty booth or to a table where I'm just sitting by myself.
The night is just emphasized by women.
Yes.
It's not the entire night.
Yes.
That's sometimes people get that conflicted where they're like, well, it was a failure of a night because nobody approached us. We didn't talk to anybody. Okay, that's fine. Not every night's going to be that way. The purpose is to put yourself in the environment to have the potential to talk to somebody. If you're not even going out because you think it's going to be a waste of time or, oh, this spot sucks or this and that, the other thing. Great. You're just lowering your chances further.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can go stay home and be alone. Or you can put your damn pants on, fix your hair, and let's go. You know what I mean? And get out of the damn house and just put yourself in the environment for the potential to happen. And this goes with everything. This goes with work. This goes with women. This goes with financial gain, with money and lotteries and meeting people or anything. You have to be in the place to get noticed.
There was a quote I mentioned to you, I think, this past weekend. There are 2 types of what is it? Two types of luck, or two types of miracles happen
Yeah.
in two different ways.
Okay.
By chance,
Yep.
or when preparation meets opportunity.
Yes. Yes. Luck is one of those finicky things where you have minor control over it. You can increase your odds at least. Doesn't mean you're always going to win. The same way with a lottery ticket, right? It's a little bit different, but kind of the same scenario. If you buy one, you don't have a great chance. You can still get lucky and win. But if you buy 10,000 lotto tickets, your chance of winning something might be better, right? Just because you're increasing those odds, it's the same kind of concept. You can get lucky and find the girl of your dreams, but if you don't go out and meet more women, you may pick the wrong one.
Mhm.
Or it just may never happen because you've only met 10
Mhm.
where you could have met 1,000.
Mhm.
So
I don't remember the exact culture, so I won't say where exactly it comes from, but there is a belief system based around you create your own luck, right?
Okay.
So the idea is the more focused on yourself you are, the more selfish you are. Oh, that girl said no, or I didn't get a girl tonight, so I'm not having a good time. But you're out with the boys.
Yeah.
If you shift that focus more to who am I here for? You know, I want to make sure, like if you and I go out and
Yep.
I want to make sure we both have a good time. I want to make sure we both get a chance. I mean, not that you need my help talking to girls, but like if I get a chance to wingman for you, like I'm looking for that opportunity.
Right.
And then if that situation presents itself, maybe it turns something up for me. But
Potentially.
if I'm so focused on what I'm doing or what I'm not getting out of it, chances are no one else is going to do anything for me. You know, I may not have that opportunity to talk to more women.
Right. Right.
And you can obviously apply that to life, but
Yeah. The last feeling I got is shame and embarrassment. So just one more thing to deal with. It goes into the same category as everything else. Understand what it is. Understand your emotion that you're going to have. You may be embarrassed about the situation. People seeing you fail. You may feel shame about it. It may go so poorly that the other friends of hers giggled and laughed at you for even trying. It's okay. It sucks, and I understand it, and we all go through this type of feeling sometimes. So you just have to figure it out, pull up your pants, and keep going. Like it's just one of those things where this is the nature of the dating market in 2025. Men are forced to be the pursuers. Coming with that, you are going to be rejected. There is no person in this world that is not rejected at some point.
Mhm.
It just happens. So the more you can understand that and figure out your losses and continue on. And I understand that if you go to a spot week after week, 10 weeks in a row, 5 days in a row, and you've been rejected 12 times every single night for 5 weeks, I get it. It gets to the point where you start to question things. There's enough rejections at some point for everybody that they're going to be like, what am I doing wrong? And it can be such a small thing that you just have to tweak in what you're saying or the information that you're giving away or how you're presenting yourself that you may not see it from your perspective and you may need that outside perspective to help you with. And that's what either myself or any other dating coach is for. We're here to analyze it from the outside perspective, give you an expertise, break it down for you, and say, have you thought about trying this? Let's work on this together. At that point, I'm in your corner. I'm here to help you. We're going to get you from wherever you're at, whether that's first base all the way to home run, or at least as close as we can get before you get out. And that's a great analogy because you make it to second base with some girls and then strike out. And then that's it. We're back to the plate and we have to start swinging again and running the bases all over again with another one. But eventually, you keep going, you're going to get there.
I think it says more about a person. Well, I mean, I guess people say this in general. It speaks more about how you are as a person with how you handle rejection, not how you handle success. Are you willing to go back out there? Are you willing to understand that this is going to happen? It's part of life. Deal with it and move on. I think women actually find that more attractive too.
Yeah, it's as Rocky quoted in the movie, right? It's not how hard you get hit; it's how many times you get back up and try again.
Yeah,
it's very similar. Getting close to wrapping up here. One of the questions that was asked is, how can I learn to move on after rejection?
Not to sound like a broken record.
Yep.
Premeditated. It's premeditated, right? You know it's going to happen. You have to learn how to accept that and realize that even if you have to tell yourself a million times a day, there will be another girl. You know, life moves on.
Mhm.
I will get another shot. You can shoot 10 shots in a night and be completely fine, right? Like one may say yes, none may say yes.
Sure.
You may get 9 phone numbers. It doesn't change who you are as a person. It doesn't make you any less of a person that you failed. It doesn't make you more of a person because you succeeded. What makes you a better person is getting that experience and learning or understanding that rejection really is just
What it is.
yeah, it's just another line in the book.
One of the best things that I could say to answer that question would be set new goals for yourself. If you can set a new goal,
That are unrelated to dating or
even
finding women. Yeah.
towards dating, could be
Okay.
too, right? So, like, let's just say whatever your anger, insecurity, embarrassment is about, our new goal is fix that. Our new goal is get back in the gym. Our new goal is get the better body. Our new goal is buy some new clothes. Our new goal is whatever. Tape yourself in the mirror doing an approach. See what your body language looks like. See how your posture looks. Stand up in the mirror. Do you look comfortable and confident, or you look like you're slouching? Do you look unsure? Are you happy with looking at yourself in the mirror? That's a big one for guys, because there are a lot of guys who look at themselves in the mirror and go, "Damn, he's not that cute," or "I'm kind of ugly," and you're already limiting what you can do when you're out just by having that mindset. And I know we talked about this a little bit in the past, but I'm going to emphasize it here because it's very important about rejection. If you're ever doubting yourself at that point, you have to understand that there's always something that you can do to be a better version of yourself the next day. You may never turn into Jason Momoa. You may never turn into whatever celebrity that you find the guy, right? But tomorrow, are you going to be 5 pounds leaner? Are you going to have bigger arms and shoulders? Are you going to have that new shirt that makes you feel super comfortable and confident? What are you going to do to fix it? Are you going to buy some new shoes to get yourself whatever it is, that new cologne that you're going to try next week that you just got? It's going to smell on point, and you're going to be like, damn, this is the one. This is what's going to hit. There's always something that you can do so that when you look in the mirror, you're better off. For the thicker gentlemen out there, I would say if you live in a colder climate, a jacket goes a long way.
Mhm.
Even a lighter jacket, you can hide some of the extra love or love handles or back that you're insecure about just by putting on that light jacket over it. And it also emphasizes your outfit because now it looks like you're in a style compared to just guy in shirt.
Mhm.
So something to consider if it's the weather's not too hot or it's the summertime. That's pretty much it. Emotional resilience is the last portion. We kind of touched on that already, so I would just say whatever you have left, let's go over it. What do you got?
I'd be a broken record if I kept going into that. It's just everything
It's
we've
everything
already been
we've talked
talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's it. Before we go, let's give just a broad overview of what we think a perfect approach looks like, or as perfect as we can get. So give me a situation, and you put me in a situation, I'm going to answer it, and then I'll put you in a situation, you answer how you would.
Oh gosh. Okay.
So put me somewhere. Where am I, and who am I talking to, and what does she look
Okay. So you're at a wedding.
like? Okay. Okay. Very to the point. Got it.
You're at a wedding.
Got it. Yes.
You haven't been introduced to this chick. You just find out that she's single from the bride.
Sure.
You're a groomsman. You're sitting at the table. She's sitting around a group of friends, guys and girls. Obviously, no one's touching her. She's single.
Single. Yep.
They're just laughing and cutting up and having a good time. She's made eye contact with you maybe once.
Okay.
Maybe twice. I don't know what else you're looking for out of this. I haven't done this before.
What is she wearing?
She's wearing.
And this is very telling, and I'll tell you why.
She is wearing a light blue sundress with shoulder straps. Her shoulders are exposed, but she has shoulder straps. Not too much cleavage. It probably goes down right to her knees or a little past.
Short hair, or is it longer hair with her hair up?
We'll say kind of in the middle. It comes down to like her shoulders. She curled it, like unnatural curls.
Brunettes or blonde?
She's blonde.
Okay, so blonde.
Highlight, hair, like curlers. Well, not natural blonde. You can tell. You can tell it's highlighted.
Highlights or just full head blonde. The difference.
We'll say highlights.
Okay. And you said light blue dress.
Dude's doing math over here.
Tight dress or loose fitting.
We'll say tight enough to know that you have curves, but still considered modest.
Got it. Shorter in length above the knee or long?
We'll say like right at the knees.
Okay.
Maybe like a half inch or two above.
Okay. Based on all of those answers, she does not appear to be somebody who is going to be an easy target.
Okay.
And I would say there's a couple of reasons. An easy target, just to go back to some of the choices that you made, an easy target wears a tight-fitting dress because she wants to be seen. She's single and she knows it. She probably looks good, and she's probably used to being hit on. So she wants to flaunt her body that she's either been in the gym working on or she bought, right? The next thing is color preference. The lighter colors, like your pastel colors, are more free-flowing and relaxed. Whereas if she was in red or black, she would be more of the 304. 304. My numbers are mixed up today. 304 type. The shorter hair with the curls probably means that since she didn't put her hair up and she curled it instead, she's just trying to look pretty, but she's not exaggerated with it. You know what I mean? There'll be a girl who goes and gets her hair done for 2 hours and puts it off all crazy and does the whole thing. That girl is looking for somebody to potentially, especially if she's single and she's not with her man. The one with the short hair probably did it herself and did the minimal just to look nice and be presentable and get there.
I'm not going to do this well.
The fact that her dress is only a certain length and you said a little bit looser also shows certain things. There are times where women will go to the weddings in those little tight cocktail dress where it's about thigh length, right?
You can almost see the show.
Yeah. Those are the ones that are going to be...
How much?
Either not easier targets. Easier targets in the fact where if they drink heavily, they'll be easy targets. But they're also more likely to have been hit on by everybody in the earth already. So your chances of getting in are harder. The fact that this girl seems more reserved increases your chances because she probably doesn't get out as often, doesn't get hit on as much, and doesn't put as much effort into her looks based on what you told me about her hair. So with all that being said, you can probably get in, have a casual conversation with her, and she probably doesn't get hit on that much, so she won't even know you're hitting on her. So a lot of it is going to be just a base conversation on what's going on. How do you know the groom? How do you know the bride? What are you doing after this? Are you in town temporarily? Do you live here? Those kind of questions. So that way you can figure out the after party. Because a lot of times, if you're there, people, especially from out of town, they're going back to the hotel room and they're going to be bored.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of opportunity there to figure out what's going on next. So it's definitely a lot of who is this girl? And that was just based off the description you gave me and taking all body language out of it. Body language then emphasizes all those points further. Now I can see, where's her hands? What is she doing? Is she open? Is she closed? Is she shy? Is she talking to one person? Is she talking to everybody, right? There's a lot of different things. She's sitting with her hands here. How does she eat? That's weird, but it works. If she's taking the napkin and folding it up and putting it on her dress and pants, she's a little more self-conscious of what she's doing down here. If she's not doing that and she's just digging in, eating, then she don't care what everybody else is thinking around her, which means that she doesn't see anybody attractive at the table. If she's conscious about it, she's going to make sure that she's tight, proper, sitting upright, and keeping her dress clean because she's interested in somebody. She wants to look her best. So it's little small things like that.
This is going to go terribly for me. I'm not going to say anything like this.
This is a masterclass right now, just because I wanted to give you a little bit of going in. But this is what I want to impart on people. When they tell me a specific situation, I want to be able to, okay, these are the questions I'm going to ask you because I'm going to get you from where you are now, at least a little bit further in. And we're going to go over every situation. Where are you going? What are you wearing? What are we doing? How are you dressing? What's the event? How do you know these people? Everything.
Link to dating coach services down below.
Yeah. Like sometimes in this business, you have to prove that you know what you're talking about. And this situation, I hope did that. And I do hope to get some testimonials from some of the people I've helped in the past to kind of maybe do a little short clip video or something and just post it on there somewhere so you can see actual people tell you that it works.
I'll say I do all right.
Yeah.
And you and I have known each other for at least, 10, 12 years at this point.
Yeah. Over a decade.
That just blew me away. I've never seen or heard anything like that from you. That was impressive.
Yeah. And that was all off the cuff. I mean, if I take time and really think about the situations and like I would do for these people, I'll write it down. I'm going to get a whole notebook dedicated to what this situation is. So that way, when I talk to you in 2 weeks from now and come back to it, I'm going to know everything. I don't want to forget what's going on. I want to know everything that happened in that segment so that I can be efficient with you the next time and not waste your time.
Yeah.
So that's what we're offering. Hopefully that helps. Did you have anything? Oh, I got to give you the scenario.
Oh, dang, I thought he was going to forget about that.
I almost forgot. Hold on. We got to see if you got it.
This is going to be bad.
The juice.
Oh, God.
Okay.
It's going to look bad anyway because I'm not going to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Should have made me go first, damn.
Let you go first.
That's okay.
Okay. Let's
I'll
give you
embarrass
a
myself
very
a little bit here.
unique situation. I want to pick your brain a little bit. Let's say Chase of today, with the mindset that you have now and all of the knowledge, is transported back to 17-year-old body in high school again.
Oh, God.
Okay?
Okay.
You're in math class. You're in one of those little wooden desks that you have to shimmy your way into on the side because they don't do anything and they kind of flip up in the front, but not really because some guy stuck 1,000 pieces of gums on it, right? Okay, so you're in that desk. I'm going to say about 2 rows ahead of you, there's a girl sitting there. That's the one you're interested in. Let's say she's petite. Let's say she's brunette. Her hair comes a little bit past her shoulder length. Typically, you've noticed her because she seems like the athletic type. She wears leggings. Okay.
Oh, you don't know how real this is right now.
There's leggings, and the reason that you've interacted with her in the past is because every once in a while she knows you're pretty good at the math and that has been being taught, and she turns around and asks you for assistance. Whether that's because she actually needs it or because she's interested in you, you don't know yet.
Okay, I don't know yet. How does the conversation start?
Let's just say she's like, what is this Pythagorean theorem? I don't understand this. This makes no sense to me. Please explain.
Okay, but this happens on a regular basis?
It's whatever the new math is for this week. So once every 2 weeks. Every time a new topic is coming up with the math class, she's like, please explain this to me so I can pass this test.
Oh, man. I really feel like I'm going to have to start charging you. This happens too often. Are you playing with me? Are you sure you don't just know this?
Mm-hmm.
Or and if she feeds into it, or I'm looking for her to be like, I don't have any money, I'm broke, and be like, well, you could, just go to dinner with me or something like that, and we'll call it even.
Okay. All the extra.
No, I wouldn't do that. But
made you kind of creepy.
No, I know I wouldn't do that. But it would just be something like, oh well, in that case,
okay, got it.
Why don't you let me take you out, and we'll call it even?
Interesting. Okay. Do you have anything else to add to it, or
I mean,
based on the other details I gave you, or no?
Is she smiling at me a lot? Is she talking about more? Is she talking about only math, or are we talking about other things while this is happening?
You haven't asked her about it yet.
No, but you said this happens, right?
She talks about math and then quickly turns around because she has to focus on the class, right? She gets these little windows of opportunity to ask a couple questions about math, but you haven't really discussed anything further. You haven't gotten to ask her the questions you really want to ask her yet. So now's your chance. You've learned the body language. You see what she's wearing. You see how she looks. You met her after class. What are we talking about?
After class to work on this stuff?
Not even to work on this stuff. You just catch her in the hallway.
Well, in the hallway, I wouldn't make that. My opportunity is when we're sitting
When
in
you're
class
sitting.
and she turns around for like the umpteenth time, and I'm just like, man, it's something like that. You know, either like, you know, I'm gonna have to start charging you for this, or
That's fine. But I mean, what if she says that's funny and then just turns around and then it doesn't go anywhere because you don't have time to get her number?
well, then that's fine. I just don't keep going.
You fizzle out.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I was trying to give you the scenario of catching her in the hallway. You guys are leaving class together, right? Now's your chance to like, hey, we have a couple of minutes before she runs off. That would be a good entry to say, hey, you got a second? Like, I know you're always asking for your math things, and
Well, I mean, yeah, I
You
mean,
know.
I could be if I don't shoot the shot in class or
Sure.
whatever, you know, I could be like, hey, if you want, we can study together.
Yeah,
Friday, Saturday night if you're free. You know,
something.
yeah.
Another topic that we glossed over is what her attire was. We said she was athletic.
You said she was she was athletic.
So
in
we didn't bring up
leggings or
anything
something
about
like
what
that.
sport she may play in school.
Yeah, but I mean, it's kind of hard to riff on something like that if we're not in the setting where
Sure.
she wants to talk
Well,
about that kind
that's
of
why I
stuff,
was saying
right?
when the hallway you can catch her
Yeah.
and be like, so what do you do? You know, like what else do you do other than fail at math? Like it'd be funny.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's the icebreaker into what you're getting into next. But all right, I mean that's kind of where we'll wrap it, I guess. Side note, and I guess we'll tell everybody here while I'm at it. I had an idea for a possibility of a show. There is a way that you can speak with AI and create an entire scenario. So I have seen through a mutual friend, they have created an adventure where they were in the world of Legend of Zelda, but being abducted by Star Trek people, and gave the AI this whole scenario, and it put them in the world of this scenario and interacted with them on this level the entire time without breaking character. And then when pressed about like the spirits, if you know anything about the Legend of Zelda, right, the goddesses, blah, 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 it knew about those things immediately. It knows the whole lore, right? If pressed further, he said, I asked them, but don't you think that something created them? And the AI responded with, are you talking about Miyamoto, the Nintendo creator?
Yeah.
So like it knows this level of intelligence where it can go delve deeper from the research that it does on the internet. What I was going to say for us is we can create a virtual date. I can have you go on this virtual date and see how you will respond and if it works. And if the AI, you can take the AI back to your place.
Oh, baby. Sign me up.
Well, just for...
Does it come with a robot?
More or less what I'm saying is a separate, not a podcast, but a live stream that we may do one day.
That sounds good.
Where we can both do it and interact with it and then live stream it. So that way viewers can see this kind of stuff live and we can give our live inputs of how we're in the moment reacting to the questions. We can either screen capture it and send it up so they can see the chat as well, right? So just a thought of different side things that we can potentially do in the future, but I thought it was an interesting idea.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Cool. So
it'd be cool to have like an actual sit down thing. Yeah. I mean, I'd be down.
I know. We'll figure that out too. I think now that the Instagram's kind of getting
traction. We can show that off and be like, yeah. We just started.
Yeah, we'll get somewhere with that soon. So, all right, we're gonna end there.
Gotta walk the talk and sing the rhyme. Confidence so heavy it stops time. Eyes on the prize, yeah, that's the line. Step in the room, it's my paradigm. Swipe right once, I've got the charm. Heart beats fast, creates alarm. In my zone, my calm disarms. Hand in hand, we light the stars. Speak like a boss, talk like a king. Words cut through like it's nothing. Swagger in every single thing. Crowd cheers loud, it's a winning ring. Date nights lit like city lights. VIP, we own the nights. Success in love, reach new heights. Whisper sweet and hold it tight. Confidence flows like a river wide. No need to hide, just glide and ride. Challenge me though, I've got the pride. In my world we'll all collide. Speak like a boss, talk like a king. Words cut through like it's nothing. Swagger in every single thing. Crowd cheers loud, it's a winning ring.